Hi guys, welcome back to Red Wine Girl Time. So last week, the topic of being emotionally unavailable was actually inspired by one of the dreaded questions that I hate being asked, which is, why are you single? So I talked about the negative. I think being emotionally unavailable is technically a negative we can learn from and grow from, but a negative nonetheless. So now I'm going to talk about the positive of why I'm single. I'm single because we just gonna call it what it is. I'm an independent woman. So for this episode, we are going to talk about all the myths and the stereotypes that come with that name, being an independent woman in today's world, and I'm gonna actually tell you why all that is trash.
Red, red wine, red, red wine, only get better with time, only get better with time. Red, red wine, red, red wine, only get better with time, only get better with time, only get better with.
So when it comes to being independent and one of the struggles of dating an independent woman, one of the things that I hear a lot is that I'm stubborn. And yes, we're stubborn, but not stubborn from a place of just being difficult for no reason, stubborn from a place of being difficult with no end game. This is not just in relationships, this is also at work, this is also in your career, this is also in your arts, this is also in whatever your passion is. Yes, I'm stubborn. I'm going to be stubborn because I worked very, very hard to be where I am right now. I know where I would like to be, and sometimes that changes, but I'm not going to change my mind on something that doesn't serve my bigger picture. In Beyonce's documentary that she just released on Netflix, there's a scene where she basically explains, like, I feel y'all, and I know that you think that you're giving your best, but I see your potential, and this would definitely be one of the cases where potential is good, especially when it comes to your art and your passion. I see your potential, and I know that you can be better, and if you are not meeting those expectations, then we're gonna have to go about this another route because I'm not settling for less. Being stubborn doesn't mean that I'm trying to fight you. It means that I refuse to settle for less. And I think that if you are ever in an argument or in a disagreement with an independent woman and she's not hearing you, it's not that she's not hearing you because she's trying to be a jerk. She's not hearing you because it just isn't aligned with her vision of the potential of this situation. And yes, once again, potential doesn't always have to be a bad thing. Like, it's not always a bad thing. And so I'm stubborn because I know what I want, and I know what I deserve, and I know what I'm working towards, and I am not going to compromise that or allow you to compromise that. A lot of the men who call us stubborn are mostly men who in their own right have refused to compromise their vision, their integrity, their values to fit into someone else's box. The thing about that is that if most men saw our stubbornness from the perspective of, I know what I want, then their views would be a bit different. You guys would handle us a little bit different because you would understand that the same way that you are fighting for your rights, I am fighting for mine. So I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over again until you get it. It's not me versus you, it's us versus them. And so sometimes I'm not fighting against you, I'm just fighting for my right to have my own vision and for you to understand that vision. And maybe, although our visions right now seem to be separate, we can get on the same page and be in this together and have an end goal that satisfies both parties. So like, I'm not stubborn, I just know what I want. I'm not stubborn, I just know what I want. I'm not stubborn, I just know what I want. I am not domestic. So originally I wanted to combat this with all the ways that I am actually domestic, but I am not every woman. I'm every woman. No. Oh, that would be a good background track for this. Okay, so, but I'm not every woman. And so by that I'm saying that, like, not for nothing, we don't all have to be domestic. It would be wonderful to have a house husband. So here's the thing about being domestic. Being domestic is, forget about what it's associated with. Like, there are women in this world who are just out there doing too great of things to be able to sweep a floor and cook your dinner. I remember the first time that I saw Hidden Figures and the way that it made me bawl my eyes out, and I was like, yo, like, I saw it from the perspective of education. I'm like, wow, like, there were people in this world who were literally fighting for the right to sit in a classroom, and we take it for granted. And so now, bringing it back to this whole, like, I'm not domestic mindset, like, if those 3 women came home and was like, I don't feel like it, as their husband, I'd be like, you got it. You are walking into this world making a difference. You are making changes. You are moving mountains and shaking the forest, and you are literally gifted with God's vision of our future. You don't gotta cook dinner tonight, like, I got it. Point blank period. Like, women don't have to be domestic the way that men don't have to be providers. You do it if you want to. If you don't want to, you will survive, because there's a partner out there for everyone. If you are dating someone who can't cook, or who doesn't want to cook all the time, or who doesn't want to clean up behind you, this is for the men in my life. Like, I need you to really, really think about what they do. What is she doing on a day-to-day that supports her pursuit of the big picture, that supports her desires for more out of life, and maybe selfishly, not for the world, but just for herself? Like, she's focused on something, and there's a reason why she's choosing to be focused on herself, and there's a reason why being domestic is not at the top of her list. And so I say this to say, we not all domestic, and we don't have to be. We gonna both do for this household. I don't have to do for this household. Now, if you got kids, it's a different story, but that's a whole other topic. I'm better than her. That people think that identifying yourself as an independent woman means that you think that you are better, not just than everybody else, but more specifically, you are better than the next woman. So here's the thing, right? A woman who is secure, I wouldn't even say in herself, because I think that it's a long journey to being secure in yourself. You're not really secure in yourself until you somebody's grandmother, where can't nobody tell you nothing, right? So I think that being a secure and confident woman and getting rid of all of those insecurities, that's a journey in itself. So a woman who is secure in her desire to be her best self does not compare herself to the next woman. And here's why. Because not for nothing, being an independent woman, and this will lead to point 1, you understand that, like, that journey to being your best self is a very, very tough journey. There's a lot of battles that you're going to have to fight. There's a long road that you have to walk, most of it alone. And so you really don't have time to talk shit. You don't have time to throw shade. You don't have time to compare yourself to the next woman. So the only person that I'm comparing myself to is the woman of tomorrow, the woman that I want to be for tomorrow. And the only person that I'm positive that I'm shitting on, that I'm better than, that I aspire to be better than, is the girl I was yesterday. So there's no room in that space and in that desire and in that pursuit of being your absolute best self to compare yourself to the next woman. So if there's ever an independent woman who's bashing other women, that's not your sister. Being an independent woman is a sisterhood, because there's so many people that root against us. There's so many people that think that we can't do it. And there's so many men, oh my God, there's so many men that have this negative idea of who we are that I don't have time to compete with my sister. We just trying to prove everybody wrong. So no, I don't think that I'm better than her. I don't aspire to be better than her. I'm not trying to beat her. I'm trying to beat myself. I'm trying to be better than my old self, the old version of myself. And another thing is that, like, especially in this pursuit of growth, that, oh my God, like I think it's so lit that women are in this space of finding themselves and being confident and feeling beautiful and discovering whatever their version of life, love, and beauty is. Because back in the day, we didn't have that. And by we, I definitely speak for my mother, my grandmother, your auntie, my auntie. Like, we didn't have that. And so the only place that a woman had in this world was whether or not she stood next to a man. And so to be an independent woman, you were always in competition. And a lot of times they placed us in competition with each other. And so in today's world, in today's society, in today's America, and in today's universe, we just want to be our absolute best selves. And when you genuinely want to be your absolute best self, there is absolutely no room to fight against your sister. So no, I don't think that I'm better than the next woman. Do I think that I'm different from the next woman? Yes, we are all different. We are all unique. And again, that's not to throw any cliches at you, but it is what it is. We all bring something different to the table. There's enough food for everybody to eat. Actually, dinner is more enjoyable when you have company at the table. So this is technically number 1 on the list of stereotypes, just based on what everyone else is aware of, but it isn't my number 1 because I think that my actual number 1 is more important than this. But bringing it back to the topic, I don't need a man. So here's the thing, right? Women, independent women, understand the value and the necessity of men in this world. For the record, the same way that this world cannot survive without women, this world cannot survive without men. If we wiped off all of one sex, the other sex would suffer, humanity would suffer. So it's not that I feel like I don't need a man. I don't have an issue with allowing a man to be a man. You just gotta be man enough to be my man. And so what does that mean? That means that you embody everything that I feel or that she feels is a man. But what I mean by that is, it's actually Steve Harvey's book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. There was a lot of dudes that were mad at this book when it came out, but there's a couple of like Bibles for being an independent woman, and eventually I'll upload a reading list, but this is definitely on that list. And so Steve Harvey discussed the 3 P's of love.
3 ways that a man shows a woman he loves us is called the 3 P's. You provide, you profess, and you protect. Here's the deal. The professing part comes with the title. You've got the right title right now, girlfriend. The protecting part and the providing part, that's not your job, honey. She said, that's where I come in. No, that's where he has to come in.
Okay.
But in order to be a provider and a protector, you gotta get yourself totally together. Wait until you have it together. So you're making the money that you can protect and provide. And then you gotta, you know, put your little weight on so in case something pop off. Yeah.
I'll feed him, I'll cook for him.
You gonna feed him? Yeah, because he need to get a little more weight on him. Get your gym membership. Go on, take care of yourself.
Protect, profess, and provide if I do not think that you can protect me, and yes, that's where the physical standards come into play, where you want him to be tall, you want him to be athletic, this is why. Protect. Profess. Now, profess is something that, not for nothing, I've been preaching since episode 1, where we wanted to eliminate the whole talking phase. Profess. If you are not a man who is ready to claim me in your kingdom, assuming you have a kingdom, then like, we don't go together. So why would I tell all my guards and all my soldiers to stand down and trust that you and your soldiers and you and your kingdom is going to lead me to my promised land? So it's not that I don't need a man. Oh, and then provide. So the thing about being an independent woman, which has been reiterated a lot in this episode, is that like, we have to provide for ourselves. Point blank, period. And so until you come in, and not just with the right words, not just with the right look, not just with the right moves, until you genuinely come in and your presence as a man is so, oh my God, that I gotta fall back and let you lead, then I'm not gonna let you lead. Like, independent women, we're not just gonna let anyone lead us. Why? Because we've gone so long leading ourselves. And again, that's not to shade anybody, but it's just to say that like, a woman who continues to provide for herself, a woman who continues to profess her own self-love, and a woman who continues to protect herself and protect her emotion, protect the empire that she is trying to build, I'm not just gonna let anybody come up in there. So it's not that we don't need a man, because men are necessary. Men are so necessary. I love men. I love our men. Men are so necessary. There are things that men can do that women absolutely cannot. And I'm okay with that. In all my independence, I'm okay with that. However, in order for me to stand back and let you lead me, I have to trust that you're capable of leading me. And actually, you should be impressed with the woman who just doesn't decide that anybody can lead her because they got a pretty face and a pretty smile, or because they got nice arms. And now for the banger. And I hope that I can explain this without being long-winded. Okay, so I'm independent by choice. Being independent is not a choice. And for those of us who have convinced ourselves that it is, that you woke up one day and you were just like, I am a strong, independent woman, that's not how that works. Sorry. Being independent is actually a survival mechanism. It is your biggest defense. It is the only thing that you've got in this world full of statistics that tell you that you can't be president, that you can't make more money, that you can't be a creative, that you can't be a mother and be a career woman, that you can't go to college, that you can't be smarter. Being independent is a defense mechanism, because the road and the journey to saying I am self-sufficient, I am extremely intelligent, I'm allowed to be beautiful. Actually, being beautiful is a weapon, and I'm not afraid to use that, because men have weapons of their own that they use. One of the things that we keep learning time and time again is that America hates women. And I can say that confidently, and I'm gonna do my best not to get in my feelings about this, but we are now living in an America that tells us what we can and cannot do with our bodies, just to put it simply, right? And so America hates women. And not to make this a race thing, but if America hates women, do you know who falls last? Who is at the very, very bottom of that list? Colored women. Women of color are very, very last on America's list. And so when you think of women who are fighting for positions in office and women who are just trying to climb up the ladder of getting a raise, women who are just simply trying to go from being a fry cook at McDonald's to being recognized as intelligent enough, as strong enough of a leader to be the manager at McDonald's. We're constantly fighting this battle to be recognized. And so being independent is not a choice. It is the only option to say, hi, I exist. Hi, yes, pick me. Oh my God, pick me and see what I'll do with it. A lot of times, like, you think that your independent women are just your Beyoncés and your Michelle Obamas and your Oprah Winfreys, but like, your independent women are also young, single Black mothers. Single mothers, period. Like, women who are raising 3 kids by themselves in the projects, women who are raising 3 kids by themselves in the suburbs. Like, being an independent woman is not a choice. It is the only option that you have. And so when I'm claiming my throne as an independent woman, as a strong Black woman, it's not for play, it's not a joke. It's because I had no other option, my only other option was to fail. My only other option was to be somebody's nobody or to be my own person. Technically speaking, we are all independent women. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, technically speaking, we all have a specific battle that we're fighting. We all have a specific goal that we are running towards. And so if you are someone who is fighting to be your own person, which is every woman that I know, then you are an independent woman. And so, like, don't fall into those negative stereotypes of, oh, I don't want to be identified as an independent woman because then that means that I got to be single my whole life. That's not what that means. That means that you are driving towards your destination. That means that you know who should be in your passenger seat, and that also means that you know who you can trust to sit in the driver's seat while you take a nap. That was low-key lit. Like, I just came up with that at the dome, I promise. But yeah, so all in all, being an independent woman is not a bad thing. Being associated with independence, being associated with feminism, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. I know that there's a negative connotation that comes with that title. I'm here to let you know that it is actually the most powerful tool that you have in today's world. Like, we're breaking records, we're shattering glass ceilings, we are making a difference, and that is by deciding to be our own person. So my definition of being an independent woman is the decision to be your own person. It's no longer being the woman in association to the man.